So in this next one, I just want to fix the add build flow in my 4x4. So we're having users create a build in Instagram from the link, and then when they jump into Safari or something, they've lost their build because they can't link those two together. What we're going to do is we're going to require a login first. Once you're logged in, you create your build and it's all linked together, and you can then access that build no matter where you are. So let's get into it. Okay, so currently in my 4x4, you can just click add build and you get started, add all your details. If you do this on an iPhone or in the Instagram browser, you jump out, you jump into Safari, your build's gone. So, because we store a temporary ID, but it's stored inside of the browser session or in the cache there in the cookie. So what we're going to do now is, instead of allowing an unauthenticated user to get here, when you click add build, what we want to do is we want to just send them straight into the login page if you aren't already logged in. So let's get that started. So the first thing we're going to do, I'll just close all this off. We're going to jump to the pages. So the page that we're looking for is projects new. Right, so this page here. So what we want to do here is we want to check for the user session. If the user doesn't have a session, we want to redirect them to the login page. We also want to then, once they've logged in, actually redirect them back to the add build page. So the first step of that we're going to try and do here is actually redirect the user. So in Next, we have in NextAuth, we have the ability to get the server session. So what we're going to do is grab that. And the docs for that one are inside of NextAuth, get server session, right here. So we can call this from the client side. And it's this function that's superseded get session. So we're going to do this and grab the user session, check if it's there. If it's there, all good. If not, we're going to redirect them to the login page. So we'll start that over here. So the first piece of that is this. We're going to grab the const session is equal to await. So here what we're going to do is we're going to pass in the request. We're going to pass in the response, and we're going to pass in auth options. So auth options are defined inside of the auth API endpoint. So you can see here that we've declared it over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that. So we're going to import it into this page here. So we're going to say import auth options from not there. Let's see, it's auth options from NextAuth. There we go. So now we have that there. And then we're going to get our session. And from there, now what we're going to say is, let's just do something quickly. We're first going to console log this and see what we're actually getting. All right, so save that out. Pull up our console here and we can refresh in the phone. Actually don't know how to do that. I just pull down. There we go. Add build. What are we getting here? There we go. So we can see here our session is currently null. Okay, so if we just chuck that in an object, we can see a session null. Okay, so that we got no session. So that's great. So what we want to do here is we're going to say, if we don't have a session, no session, we want to redirect you. So here's a CodePilot saying, so we're going to return a redirect, destination auth sign in, permanent false. So the destination is wrong because in our app, we actually go to the user's new, let's just check what the actual path is. It is users login. So that's where we want to send them. So we want to send them here, users login. So we're going to change this to users login, and it's not permanent. It's only if you don't have a session. Okay. So now what we get, you can see that just jumped over here on the right-hand side. But if we go to my 4x4, I don't know, it's doing a double log there. But if we click add build, there we go. So now it's forcing us to log in. Okay, so that's the first piece of the puzzle done. So the next part is, once you've logged in, So I'm just going to pull up my browser here. Once we've logged in, so we're going to log in here. And you continue. Now what we want to do, instead of coming to the account page, we actually want to jump you straight back to where you were. So we don't want to disrupt the flow. So that's going to do a little bit of digging here to see how we can implement that. So usually we could append a redirect here, right? So that when you come into the login, we can append that there. Let's just see if that works for us. So what we'll do is we'll jump out of here, sign out. Cool. We're going to say add build. We can see we've got our redirect there. But what I want to see is if it's maintained. I believe it won't be. So when you click on login, it's gone. Okay, so we need to now maintain that redirect. So to pass our callback URL through, so our redirect URL, we're going to jump into the login screen. So that's users login. And you can see what we've got currently is with Auth0 and Facebook, our callback URL is hard-coded here as user's account. So that's what it's always going to be. So what we're going to do now, we're going to import router from next router. Is it, I believe, let me just check. Next router, let me just make sure, yep, it's use router, sorry. Import use router from next router. I'm going to grab that. Just turn this guy back into proper function. Now we're going to say router equals use router. And let's just see what we're getting here. CodePilot seems to be onto it today. So let's see what it's saying. So now what we're going to do is when we jump in, we are going to say, let's log out. I'm just going to move this a bit here so we can see. Shrink this guy. All right. We're going to say add build. Now we can see there's our redirect stuff. And then what we're going to see here, params. Okay, here's our router. So we can see we're on the route users login. We've got the query redirect projects new. Boom, right there. So that's where we want to go because we've passed it through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, so that is, let me just grab that. That's the query. So we're going to say query. And then what we want to do here actually is say, so we're going to say callback URL is equal to query dot redirect if it's set, or that's confusing, or it's the callback URL, right? So if we have defined a redirect, we want to go there. Otherwise, if we have none, we're just going to go straight to the user's account. So if we're jumping in from a different page or something, we can go from there. So let's give that a spin. So we're going to swap out these, right? What's this guy saying? String or string array? So that's not a string array. That's what it's going to be, a string. But let's see. Okay, so we're going to just say, cool, thank you very much. Now that should give us what we're looking for. So now I'm going to jump from my 4x4. I'm just going to log in here normally. Yep, okay, that worked fine. Great. So then we're going to click on add your build. Now we're going to log in with auth0. And you can see here our callback URL is now set to projects new, yeah? Boom, projects new. So that's it. So now what we've done is you can't add a build without being logged in, which means that users aren't going to have builds just trapped in the middle of space and never able to access those again. It's a very simple fix. So let's just quickly go over what we did. In the new page, we're now using get server session from NextAuth. We're checking that for a session. We're passing in the request, the response and the auth options. If there's no session, we're redirecting to the user's login page and we're appending a redirect param to the query of projects new, because we want to come back to the same page where we are right now. And it's not permanent redirect. Then inside of the login page, what we've done is we've checking the query string, and we're going to use that as the callback URL instead of the default, which is user's account, if it's defined. If it's not defined, send them back to the normal spot, and then sign in with Facebook, sign in with Auth0, both will send you back to the correct page. And it's that easy. So now we have that, we have protected builds. Now when someone creates a new build, they're logged in, it's assigned to their account, and no matter where they log in from, it's all good. Excellent. Thanks so much for joining on that one. Catch you on the next one.